Hey, welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Mia O'Brien sitting in for Brent Martineau. Richard Miller here live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Thanks for hanging out with us. Apologies for the delay. We have two of the most outstanding Ospreys on UNF's campus here on this lovely program today where we talk all things University of North Florida athletics. Head coach of the men's basketball team, Bobby Kennen, and the leading scorer in the ASUN Conference, Kamrin Oriol. Gentlemen, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will discuss that two-game win streak here momentarily, but first, since I know Bobby was in attendance and Richard was the MC, let's talk Hall of Famers. Maybe Cam Oriol will be a Hall of Famer someday at the University of North Florida. We celebrated 6 of them on Friday night, the class of 2026. Walk us through the celebration this past Friday, Richard.
Great class. JC, Derek, everybody put on a wonderful event. And it's just always fun to see a lot of faces that you might see at a few games here and there. But this is an interesting one because I've been there long enough to where you start seeing student athletes that you've seen in person now being inducted. Amy Taylor, great swimmer. Nicole Barron, a one-time ASUN Libero of the Year. Sarah Walsh could not make it because she's working with NFL Network and on assignment. Kyle Nasta, who's arguably our best goalkeeper ever in men's soccer. And then Travis Trace, he was on an all-star golf team for the men's squad in 2018 and 19. So it was fun. With 4 of those, we did a Q&A, fireside chat, and then Mark Romano Sr. closed it out beautifully. A lot of laughs, a lot of smiles, even a fun gift for our new head coach of the men's soccer team, too.
Very nice. And I know Mark's remarks in particular, pun intended, Bobby, were emotional. What was his message to the assembled?
I just think, his whole thing is like, UNF and UNF soccer, a lot of things, gave him a lot of his life. And I just think just the relationships that come from that are just amazing. I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, you have teams are assembled with a bunch of different personalities, and the best teams have the same mission. Different personalities and the same mission, and just I had the opportunity to spend some time with Mark and his brother AJ, and actually Mark's son, ahead of the event, and so I kind of felt like I had a little backstage, pass to some of those things and some of those stories, and it's just the beauty of athletics, and it's the beauty of our experiences.
It has been a busy week for not only head men's basketball coach Bobby Kennen, but his entire men's basketball program, including Cam Oriol, who had not one but 2 game winners during this 2-game win streak as part of a 4-game homestand that continues this week at UNF Arena. Cam, thanks for hanging out with us. Has your heart rate come down from those crazy finishes? A 87-85 win over Eastern Kentucky on Thursday night, a 117-114 overtime win over Bellarmine on Saturday. But no, who am I kidding? He's cool, calm, collected. Like, why am I even asking about his heart rate? Like, you don't even bat an eye when I'm talking about these heart racing 1-possession wins.
He's got a great smile though, so I love seeing that.
Yeah, Cam, but you're not even you're already moving on to what's ahead this week with Stetson and Lipscomb coming to town. But you'll admit those were some tightly contested contests, were they not?
No, they definitely were, and it was a very fun experience for us to have those big wins for the team. And as a kid, you always dream of hitting a game winner. So to be doing that on a big stage is very a full circle moment for sure. But like you said, just staying calm, cool, and collected is something I try to do. Not getting too riled up in moments and not getting too excited for things, not getting too low on things, just being prepared for big moments like that. And like you said, just focusing on continuing to get this winning streak going in the right direction.
But Mia, he's so even keel, but to see you Saturday, you hit the game winner right in front of Waddell, the 3. Is that the most emotion that you've shown on a court this season?
Might be. I was definitely a little excited for that. But yeah, I'll say probably. Yeah.
Okay, because you guys were going back and forth scoring. It was he'd drive and then you'd hit a big shot.
Yeah, it was a very exciting game, so I had to get a little wound up for that one.
Cam Oriol is the only player in the country with 30 or more points and 15 or more assists in the same game this season. Bobby, when I say that, I know it's impressive, those numbers, and you're shaking your head too. Yep. But what's crazier is I already know your answer. He's an even better person off the court.
No question. And I keep saying this, and I just use the word pro to describe Cam. And it's just, what I mean by that all the time is he's so professional in his approach and his consistency and his thoroughness and his work ethic. You know, he has all those things that make him successful, and how he approaches anything is how he approaches everything, and that's why it's great to see the success that he's having.
Well, and Bobby, too, you mentioned in the post-game press conference that, yes, 33 points, but how many did he have in the first half?
But I think, would you have six?
Yeah.
Six. And, I mean, he had 10 in overtime. And the thing that, you know, from our first meeting, like I've asked guys to do things that they've never done before at this level for us to be successful, and no one more than Cam. I've always felt like he's got a chance to be an elite scorer in this league, but he's developed his game to the point where he's become an elite scorer and an elite playmaker, and that combination is pretty terrific to have. It's pretty special.
And what's wild, Cam, is that if I told you 4 years ago that you are the senior leader, the University of North Florida, back-to-back 30-plus point games, bringing this team back into the A-Sun playoff picture. I told you that 4 years ago. Where are you 4 years ago? Is that even a thought in your head?
Probably not. But I will tell you, I've had the work ethic pretty much all my life just to be prepared for moments like this, and just trusting that whatever God had planned was going to come to fruition, and just trusting in that and continuing to work. So when moments came like this, I'll be ready.
Because where were you 4 years ago?
I was graduating from Admiral Farragut, but I started off in a school called Master University in California, the NAIA.
NAIA school, and then made your way back home to the state of Florida, where you're from. And it's an incredible journey, and it's one, Richard, that we've been lucky enough that we've gotten to call Cam's games on ESPN Plus through UNF Athletics, and I'm lucky enough that Cam is part of our leadership program at UNF as well, and so got to see firsthand his development in the TLI Ritz-Carlton mentoring program up in Amelia Island. And for us in that program, I will tell you, Cam, there's a lot of folks in Amelia Island. We let them know you'd be on Talon Talk today. So I know there's some folks watching. So shout out to May Lynn, who's probably somewhere in the YouTube comments hovering around. But immediately, Bobby, whenever we let those folks know about Cam's success, and I think this is going to be a conversation throughout the course of the next month. And I don't want to put even more pressure on this young man. As you alluded to, he's running the point. It's a position he's never had to run in his career at this level. But immediately the thought that comes to mind is another graduate of that program and another graduate of your program who's currently in the NBA in Chaz Lanier. What do you see Cam where he is in his development? Chaz, two different players, to be fair. They play two different positions on the court. But that trajectory.
I just think if you look through the history of our program, just the quality and the depth of guards that we've had. I mean, really, that the position that he's playing right now, and Chaz had a similar path. Like, he really wasn't a point guard either, but at the end of the day, when we needed him to, he had the ball in his hands. He had the ball in his hands an awful lot, and he carried that responsibility. And I think Cam has certainly done that, and he just continues to show up, continues to produce, and continues to perform. One of the things that I just kind of want to say, it's like Cam's from St. Pete, and one of the things that I love most about St. Pete is it is a genuine basketball community, and it's one of the few places in the state where, no matter if you're at, Boca Ciega or Lakewood or Gibbs or St. Pete High, they support one another. Farragut, like Boca Ciega, like there's a tremendous amount of support for one another. And when it came time to recruit Cam and I started to do my homework in that area, there were so many people that spoke so highly of him. And what I got more than anything else is, I don't know why you didn't get him the first time around. And we're fortunate enough to get him the second time around. But, for a lot of us, and I've said this even in my journey, like, what's delayed is not denied. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the same. I think it's the same for Cam. What was a little bit delayed was never denied for him. And now that he has the opportunity, he's thrived and he's taken the most of. He's made the most of it.
Cam, having watched you the last couple of weeks, I feel like you're a great mix of former Ospreys and Garrett Sams, Dallas Moore, and Ivan Gandea-Rosa now with the assist total. But you've got an interesting connection to Dallas Moore. You shared with us on Saturday. Can you share that again here?
Yeah, like we're both from St. Pete. I grew up playing with his younger brother, just AAU. He went to Bogey. My brother's graduated from Bogey. So I knew him before coming here, and ever since I came here, he's just been a good mentor and just someone that reached out to me. And then if I ever went home and needed somewhere to go to get shots up or get a workout, and he said just hit his line and make something happen. So he's been a good supporter and a good mentor to look after all he's done here. So it's been good.
Ospreys helping Ospreys.
Yeah, playing
Yeah,
pro
for
basketball
sure.
over in China and
Yeah, he's
thriving.
killing it for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We actually had his brother at the game the other, our last home weekend.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they were in town Bogey was in town to play over at Bishop Snyder, and we were able to bring their team to the game on Saturday. So it was great. Dallas had a bunch of memorabilia we had to get to him, so it kind of saved me on shipping, letting Coco take it home to him. So I was happy on that one.
When are we going to get Dallas in the UNF Hall of Fame? That's the real question here.
Well, he's going to be inducted to the A-Sun Hall of Fame.
I know. So come on,
I don't know.
Nick, are you here? Are you in the building? I'm just plant the seed here.
Well, in all fairness, I think with some of those guys, with Dallas and Bo, I think one of the best things about being in the Hall of Fame is actually being there and being present to accept the honor. And I think with those guys, I mean, they're obviously no-brainers, and it's gonna happen. But I think it kind of wanted to happen at a time when they can actually, come here and be celebrated. So, I hope they enjoy long careers and continue to play. And then when that moment's over, the second they retire, we'll have them here.
And of course, we hope that Cam also one day, if he so chooses, gets to enjoy that long pro career. Still a lot of work to do, though, here on campus at the University of North Florida. And you're not the only Osprey who went off in this 2-game win streak. We got to talk about KJ Jackson. Talk about somebody else, Cam, who what's delayed is not denied. Yeah. What have you seen out of the Jacksonville native this last week plus? I mean, he's averaging 18.8 points per game in A-Sun play, 9 of 15 from 3 against Bellarmine. I mean, I was just sitting there like, I mean, he's going to go break every single record in that there is in the entire program history, and it's only his first season on campus, second season in college.
Yeah. I've seen a kid that has a lot of confidence and a lot of grit and belief that he's one of the best shooters in the whole country, and it definitely makes it a lot easy to play the point guard for sure. It takes a lot of pressure off of me. It helps our team out in so much different ways. But, I mean, the way he shoots the ball is something that you don't get from a lot of people. So just being able to see that, being able to play with that, and, I mean, he's still young. He's a sophomore, so he still has 2 more years. So it'll be very good for this program. I just can't wait to see the trajectory he's going to continue to go on. And I'm just glad that he made that switch to come over here. So we're glad to have him for sure.
Mia, have you ever tried, was it peanut butter fluff?
Yeah.
So this is what Cam's girlfriend has said that KJ and Cam are like. I've never had it. Have you?
Peanut butter fluff? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Have you ever had fluff, like the white?
Yeah, I've seen that.
And then you put it with you put the marshmallow with the peanut butter.
Okay.
I love that peanut butter fluff. Bobby's shaking his head over here. You got peanut butter fluff. Who else stood out for you, Coach, in that 2-game win streak?
Well, it was great to see Devin Hines back on the court. I mean, he had about a 3-week stretch where wasn't able to play, wasn't able to practice, and then he came in and gave us a great lift. I think Dalton Game has been fantastic. He's really rebounded the ball at a high level for us. He's given us a physical presence inside. And I just think some guys that are unsung a little bit, it's like, Mason Lee and Nestor Diachuk are absolutely giving us everything they have every minute they're on the court. And I just think it's true for, everyone who stepped on the court for us, and even guys that haven't gotten the court, they're all contributing to our success in their own way.
Now, Coach, what was it? You've won the last 2 games, of course, last week, Thursday, Saturday. But the loss, we briefly touched on it at Central Arkansas. Was that a little bit of a wake-up call?
I think, they played really, really well. They're a very good team, and the thing about it is like going in, like they had 2 league losses. They were both in overtime. And you're talking about us as we start the beginning of our conference play, like we wound up playing all the top teams in the league. I mean, you're our first 2 are Lipscomb, and we're on the road. We're Lipscomb and Austin P, and they're both 7-1 in the league. And then we turn around at home, and you play Queens and West Georgia, who are at the top of the league, and then Central Arkansas. Like that was kind of the first half of our schedule. And I think we were in the game for a long time. I mean, it was for the first 12 minutes of the game, and then they just kind of went on a run that we just didn't respond to. However, we kept playing. We continued to play. The last 12 minutes of the game, we battled and battled and battled. And it's funny. I had a friend and a very good supporter tell me after the game on Thursday, he's like, "Look, you didn't win the Thursday night. You didn't win the game tonight. You won it Saturday when your guys didn't quit." And that resonates a lot, and I think it just speaks to our process, it speaks to our approach, and just continuing to stay in the fight and battle possession by possession, media by media, and game to game. And we just looked at it, we kind of took that challenge, this week as okay, this team together had not won 2 games. We hadn't won 2 games in a row. And so, we took the challenge to grow from the North Alabama, Central Arkansas thing to see if we can, make it happen between Eastern Kentucky and Bellarmine.
And now a chance to make it 3 in a row. 2 more home games as part of this 4-game homestand coming up this week, including a rematch with Lipscomb on Saturday. Before we get to that Lipscomb game, and Cam, we'll ask you kind of the scout on the Bisons after that initial meeting earlier this month. Bobby, you've known Donnie Jones a long time. The Stetson Hatters, they come into UNF Arena, a 3-5 mark in conference play, 7-14 overall. Initial impressions so far through the first 3-4 weeks of ASUN play.
I mean, they're really big. They have a lot of skill and a lot of size, and that's kind of one of the things. A little bit different in their approach. Their guy inside shooting like 76% in the league. A transfer from Georgia Southern. He's been really dominant. Jamie Phillips has been really good for them. He has an injury, and we'll kind of see the status of that. But I think he's got, they're very well coached. They're very versatile offensively. They can score in different ways. He's just an outstanding coach. And I was fortunate enough as my second year going into my second year as a head coach at Williston High School is when Coach Donovan and Coach Jones, those guys came to Florida and University of Florida. And I say this about anyone that's been in college athletics, I think understands this. Coach Jones was on staff at Marshall when Coach Donovan became the head coach. Coach Donovan kept Jones on staff. And it is so rare for that to happen in college athletics. Anytime a new coach comes in, particularly men's basketball, he's going to bring all his own people. Right. Well, to have a person the quality of Coach Jones for Coach Donovan to recognize it and to keep him on, I think it speaks a lot to Coach Jones.
And then he brought him with him.
Yeah, he brought him with him to Florida, and he's been a friend and a mentor to me for a lot of years, and even someone that I continue to hear from throughout the league season. So it's going to be fantastic and have an opportunity to compete against him.
What about for this season? Your first year at the helm, how have you relied upon your assistants? Because I know in traveling with the team, sometimes a head coach says, hey, guys, speak up. Sometimes I'm going to be wrong. I need you.
Yeah, I just think I think they are. The best thing about my staff is they're not afraid, to come to me with suggestions or ideas, or even to challenge me, when the time is right, just to kind of, make sure that we're all in it together. And again, just like I said, kind of about players, like we all have different personalities, but we have the same purpose and we have the same mission. And it's just great to kind of have some reminders along the way. And like even we've kind of changed a little bit as how we've prepared, from kind of one game to the next with the league with a Thursday, Saturday turnaround. So we kind of hit each team a little bit earlier in the week and kind of do that. And that's kind of been a change. But I have a very, very high quality staff who's seen a lot, done a lot, been through a lot, and it's great for me. The best thing about life is you don't have to experience everything your own. You can grow from others' experiences, and I've certainly leaned on them to do that.
Before we get you boys out of here, Cam, Lipscomb, from the first match up to now, I know you guys have grown a lot. Mm. What's on the scouting report when it comes to the Bisons making the return trip here to UNF Arena on Saturday?
I mean, we're kind of just focused on us right now, just continuing to get better on our half. We know we went up there. It was a very close game. We started off very strong, and then we just couldn't finish, and that was something that we've been working on, is learning how to finish. And I feel like we've been getting better at that, so just continue to focus on us, improve this week, and practice. Start with Stetson, take care of Stetson, and we'll focus on Lipscomb and then take care of business then.
What it's all about, Richard. Focus on us, then you can worry about the rest.
I'm just wondering, Mia, is it 1 or 2 game winners this week? I don't know, Cam.
Because it really, I mean, like you said, this is something you dream about since you're a little kid, and then you hit not 1 but 2 in a 3-day span.
I don't want to. I'm not going to cut him off. I'm not going to say this, but I'm sorry for doing this. But one of the things about Cam when he transferred, anytime you transfer, you try to find as much film as you can. before. And one of the things that we noticed about Cam on film, that he had an uncanny ability to score at the end of the shot clock. It just seemed like all the time, shot clock, 5, 4, 3, 2, there's Cam bucket. Boom, there's Cam bucket, there's Cam bucket. And it's funny, it's like I think I said that to our staff as we walked off the court, on Thursday night before the guys came back to the locker room, and I was like, hey, remember all that film? He's making shots at the end of the shot clock. It's there's nothing, the only thing better than making a shot at the end of the shot clock is making a shot at the end of the game. So we'll take those all day.
From 7th on this team in scoring 1 year ago to the ASUN leader in scoring. Cam, you are the model for a lot of young basketball players watching right now, that just because you're in one situation right now doesn't mean 365 days later you can't be exactly where you want to be. We appreciate you guys joining us here on Talent Talks. We are looking forward to the 2-pack of games at home at UNF Arena this week for the UNF men's basketball team. 7 o'clock home against the Stetson Hatters, and then 2 o'clock on Saturday home against the Lipscomb Bisons, which, by the way, I will tell you from having called the women's game against them, they make sure you pronounce it Bisons with the plural. Richard knows. Richard knows. Sure. It's in the game notes. It's not the North Dakota State Bison. Bisons. Yeah. Bisons. Hey, still a lot to do here on today's edition of Talent Talks. When we return, the new leader, the new head Osprey of the women's volleyball program joins us next here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Joel Donovan. My brother Kyle and I, we are co-owners and operators here at Donovan Heat and Air and Electric, and my dad started the business in 1987 to provide the greater Jacksonville area with a great customer service experience. 3 decades later, we're still doing the same thing. I love the Jacksonville area. I love the community. I love raising my family here. That's my name on the side of the building, and it's really important for our family to run this company the way it should be ran. It's something to be proud of.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
We're CSI companies. We partner with organizations nationwide to help employers like you find your dream team. You're looking to hire the best of the best, and we've got you covered, start to finish. Whether you're hiring for projects or everyday operations, we provide the talent, strategic solutions, and innovative technologies that keep your business ahead of the competition. This is your workforce reimagined. This is CSI Companies.
We've been telling you about the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network for over a year now. How to find it, what to see. Simply put, it's TV online. Local sports content all day, every day. Just like this.
Did you always want to make history? Like, think that big, or just say, hey, I want to play in the NFL?
I always say I wanted to play in the NFL.
That's it. Backdoor left side, takes a shot. And into the back of the net.
Oh, what a pass.
Oh, my goodness.
What a pass.
And they have been. We've been talking. We've been articulating.
I did have a sense that they wanted to be bold, that they wanted to make a splash.
It's content you won't find on TV. Find it on actionsportsjacks.com and just sit back and watch local sports all day on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
And welcome back into Talent Talks, the all exclusive, all inclusive, everything UNF Athletics program here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Mia O'Brien, Richard Miller, and honored to be joined by the new head coach of the North Florida volleyball program, Abby Gilleland. Abby, thanks so much for hopping in the studio with us. Welcome to Jacks.
Thanks for having me. It's
Absolutely,
good to be here.
absolutely. And so let's just go big picture here. Let the folks know, where are you coming from? What was your journey to become the head coach, your first head coaching post at the Division I level of UNF?
Yeah, so a little bit of a longer story. I started my playing career at Ohio University and got into coaching right after. I tell people a lot of times I think more people knew I was going to be a coach before I did, and then found myself jumping right in on graduation. So spent some time all around the country, most recently at Florida, which was a really great experience, and had a short stint there. Prior to that, Marquette on Tennessee.
So you know this cold weather. This cold weather is nothing to you. It never bothered you anyway.
No, it hasn't. But I will say I went home for the holidays and I was like, okay, I think I've quickly adapted to this warm weather. We're pretty spoiled. So it's fun rubbing it in my family's face. They're all still up there. So
while at Ohio, All MAC first team 3 years in a row, setter of the year as well. Yeah. I feel like mainly setters are the ones who become head coaches. Is that usually the path?
Yeah, there ends up being a pretty strong correlation. A few years ago, we were looking around the room when our staff was at Marquette, and we're like, there's all 5 setters of us. All of us are setters. So I think just kind of controlling and decision-making that you see in the match. I know a lot of people compare it to the quarterback, but I think there's some parallels there. So
you said everyone else at Ohio knew you'd be a head coach before you did. What did you want to be when you were a volleyball player at Ohio University?
You know, I was nursing for a long time, for my first 2 years, and I was just really big on helping people and wanting to be in that space, and kind of had an interest in that. And I think I always knew I'd coach in some capacity, and so I was excited when the time kind of came, and I switched to sports management and completely redirected my path, and here I am.
Did you feel pretty comfortable? I know that 4 candidates applied for this job, final round.
Yeah.
Everybody raved about you. What was it? Did you feel confident going in that this was going to be your spot?
You know, I did. I think just kind of looking at the opportunity as a whole, I think this was a job all across the country that was extremely attractive. When you're looking at it from the lens of recruiting to what you can provide student athletes, and I think you would look at any coach across the country, and providing a great experience is a big piece of that. And so knowing that I could do that here was really big and important. And I felt, prepared along my coaching career and the opportunities I've had, the people I've worked for. I felt, that I was in a good position to hopefully have all the lessons learned, put myself in a pretty good spot.
Did you know about North Florida prior to accepting the position at the University of Florida as an assistant?
I knew of, and just kind of the history and volleyball world being small, having played a little bit but I hadn't spent much time in Jacks, and hadn't explored and really seen campus to the magnitude of knowing a lot about it. And the moment I stepped on campus, I was like, okay, this place is pretty special. I think this is a sleeping giant. So.
Walk us through last week when Nick announced you walk into the locker room, that whole experience. Yeah. What was that like last Tuesday?
Well, an incredible locker room, mind you. So walking into that space, but I'm in this for them and for the athletes. And so just finally being able to get past all the logistics and the interviews and the conversations and get to be with them was really, really special. So a little sigh of deep breath, and then the opportunity to kind of start creating that vision and move forward.
So what's next? One-on-one meetings? Do you immediately dive into recruiting?
Those are tomorrow, yeah. So getting the group situated in the gym and starting to work through verbiage and systems and things that we're going to do. Them really just getting to know me, building that level of trust and a relationship off the court so they kind of know where I'm coming from is huge and instrumental just in setting the tone for culture and where we want to go. But individual meetings, recruiting, all those things, scheduling, those are all on the books. Hiring a staff.
Yeah, I was going to say, what goes into the hiring a staff part at this stage of the game?
Yeah, I've got some really great connections throughout my time being in coaching. And so going through that process, and then also, having recommendations in different people, and the best will rise to the top. And so, I think you only are as good as the people that surround you. And so I'm being really diligent in that process, and excited to see who ultimately joins.
Nick Morrow raved early on recruiting for you, but also your connection to the alumni base. How's that been, reaching out to former student athletes?
It's great. I have some connections from, way back when in the club world that had ended up playing here, and reached out to them throughout the process. And again, I think anytime you put yourself in a situation to say, I was an alumni, or I am an alumni of a program, you know how it feels to have that come back. And one thing I was super impressed with in the process was just the number of alumni that stayed in the area, and are still pouring into the program emotionally, financially, attending, being around. And that's so valuable for student athletes, just to also not only see where those alumni were and how they impacted the program and the foundation, but also what you'll be in the future, and having those connections and them using that as a network. And so I look forward to just continuing to get to know them even more, have them in our gym, have them in our space, because they're a huge part of how we got to where we are so far.
Ospreys went 14-17 this fall, 7-9 in ASUN play, but an upset surprise trip to the ASUN semifinals of the conference tournament down in Fort Myers. Yes, these teams are going to change across the board, all 12, including yours, in terms of personnel, in terms of the roster, just by nature of college sports in 2025, 2026. But, Abby, in terms of the ASUN as a conference when it comes to volleyball, where does it rank? How would you assess the landscape of the conference, especially I don't want to be that guy, but across town, they're doing some good work over in volleyball at that other school,
absolutely.
And that presents an awesome challenge for you and your program.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to see some changes just in the conference as a whole, with some teams departing and kind of in that smaller model, and so the size of conference overall shrinks, but I think the level continues to stay extremely high, and so excited for that, and a ton of respect for Alicia and her staff and what they've been able to do. But I think it's only a glimpse too of what this area attracts. So excited for that. But I think that taste of success in the conference tournament, you need those little moments as you're building. And I think that was one of those first eye-opening moments for this group. I know we're a little bit younger and graduated some folks, and roster looks a little different, but when you get those experiences, it only helps you in the future. And so I think it starts the tone of helping them become hungry and understand what that means, and hopefully sets the tone for next year.
Do you start heading out on the road to recruit? Do you wait for the assistants to be in place? But when is your travel schedule going to begin, you think?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to get filled up pretty quickly. So I'm already working on not only getting in the local gyms here in Jax, but also regionally. And we've got a handful of commitments across the country in different areas that I'm working to get to see and meet in person as quickly as possible, just to foster those relationships. And but yeah, I want to get out there, and I want to bring the best talent in. Recruiting by nature. I've been a recruiting coordinator for nearly all of my career, and so that's a big piece of the equation for sure.
Great segue, because I was going to ask, at Florida, your title was not recruiting coordinator.
Yep.
It was assistant coach / camp director / general manager, which we see in college football and college basketball, what that general manager role is. Shameless plug to our friend Dave Caldwell, former GM of the Jags, who is now the GM of Florida football. A former NFL GM is now a GM of an NFL, or of a college team. I mean, they're basically NFL. To that end, Abby, when it comes to recruiting in 2026, you understand the terrain, but do you ever really understand it in this ever-evolving college sports landscape?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you say ever-changing, right, and ever-evolving, and part of it is learning, and then part of it is anticipation, and hey, where's this going to go? And so that shift of going from Marquette, which is a little bit more mid-major, but we had achieved a really high level of success in that program, and shifting into the Power Four, right? Those landscapes shift, and learned a lot in that process, but the landscape is changing, and so you're learning to adapt and what's going to be successful, and how are we positioning ourselves to be in the best position to win. So while it wasn't recruiting coordinator next to my name, those two things really do go hand in hand in terms of how much time and energy you're providing towards roster management. So great experience in both ways, but it is ever changing for sure.
Well, and I don't want to bury the lead, but then there's also the NIL component, which I'm assuming that was under your title at the University of Florida.
Yes. So the changes in revenue share, NIL, just genuine roster management with new roster caps and things like that. So there's been a lot of changes over the years to stay up to date, but it's a fun challenge as well.
What kind of offense are you going to run? One setter, two setters? Have you figured out your philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's having a philosophy and then having the roster to do different things. I was a setter, as we discussed, so I loved running the show and being in a 5-1. I see pluses and minuses to both systems, but you got to have the pieces and the attackers to be able to do a 6-2, and so working through some of those nuances. We'll have 4 setters on roster this upcoming season, and so it'll be a battle, and excited to watch those.
All right, we're going to put Abby through a speed round. I'm deciding this off the cuff.
Okay.
Richard doesn't even know. Richard doesn't even know this. Some of them will be open-ended. Some of them will not.
Okay.
Just of the city of Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. Well, we'll start with, these are going to be fair. And Richard, if you have any, you just tap the horn and then you hop on in here. Listen, we're having fun. We're having fun here on Talon Talks. Yes. Let's start with this. What is the name of the river in Jacksonville?
St. John.
Boom. Point for Abby.
Okay.
Crushed it.
Next one. What is the name of the hockey team that plays in Jacksonville?
Iceman. But
yeah, another one. She's 2 for 2, folks.
We can stop there.
Don't call it a comeback. All right, this is the part that's open-ended. I need you to name me a band that played or is originated in Jacksonville. Open-ended. Musical artist. There it is. She got another one. Well done, Hamby. Well done. All right, let's keep it moving. Can you name one of the bridges? Just a bridge.
Oh.
Main Street Bridge. There we go. There we go. Richard, do you have any other? Maybe we shouldn't do a speed round. I'll come up with some more questions.
Heart Bridge.
Well,
7 bridges.
Now we're all about the bridges. Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to give Abby like things she has to do in Jacksonville now that she is here?
To do, I'd say try and surf if you can when the water starts to warm up. Maybe May or June. It's always a good time. I would say
I'm thinking like restaurants. You got to give her some
restaurants.
I'm trying to come up with like fun like pop culture questions over here. So you got to give her like the Zagat guide.
Yeah, I'd say any fish spot, local fish spot, so some shrimp. Check out a jumbo shrimp baseball game. That's always a blast. So there's tons to do.
Yeah, that way.
I would also echo some of our friends through the University of North Florida Athletics. I mean, you got to go to Angie Subs.
Yes.
You've certainly got to check out, because a nickname for Jacksonville is Calford, like Calford Chop House. I'm trying to think of some other restaurants off the top of my head that are also friends of UNF. I like the Habit that just opened. That's a chain, but shout out to the California chain for coming on down. I'm just trying to list off a bunch of sponsors now.
I'm gonna have to put them on my list.
What else we got?
I collect them with the athletes when they come in. So
Good.
We'll add it to the list.
Excellent.
Sure.
Good. I'm glad. Some other Jacksonville fun facts now that you can, when you go back to Ohio, you can showcase it. Of course, 42 miles or 22 miles of wide sandy beaches, 42 miles total of coastline. Oldest seaport in the United States. See, I'm learning things, and I've lived here for 8 years now. Richard, you've been here forever.
Yeah, forever.
Forever, literally forever.
Forever.
Like Richard,
40 years.
Yeah, when they built like the bridges and they built Calford, they also
built me.
They built Richard Miller. But yeah, no, a lot of fun things about Jacksonville that we're excited to help you uncover here in the years ahead. But your message to the University of North Florida faithful as you get ready to take over the helm of the program.
Yeah, I'm super excited to connect with everyone. I think this is a special community with a lot of support and energy to give, and so I'm just excited to meet everyone, and we'll see you all.
All right. Well, before we let Abby go, we do want to remind you all before we get on out of here, a couple other exciting notes around the UNF Athletics program. Baseball and softball season tickets remain on sale now. Single game tickets and flex plans do go on sale next week. Richard, you'll be on the call for the softball, baseball season. What can we expect from those two teams on the diamond?
Well, it just came out the other day. So mid-major softball is number 19 right now in the country. So they've got a powerhouse of a team. Outfield is tremendous. Well, Jeff Conrad on actually at halftime of the Saturday Lipscomb game. So
Nice.
get more of an insight of what he's seeing and everything. Baseball should be very solid as well. So coverage more on those teams as we move into the spring months.
And I feel like Abby's first impression of Jacksonville is that construction. Although look at that beautiful baseball field.
It is beautiful. Parked right next to it.
It's just, I drove past it today coming off campus here to the studio, and just to see the progress that they've made here in the last 3 weeks alone. It's a credit to our friend Corey Levine, Irv Lewis, and the entire grounds team over at UNF. Not only baseball and softball getting ready to kick off the season, or should I say, not tip off the season. First pitch.
Yeah, throw off the season.
Throw off the season, something like that.
Sure.
Women's tennis, men's tennis already underway. Indoor track and field. Richard, what updates do we have from some of those sports?
Oh, track and field was excellent. We had Ray Hernandez on the show last week. Hurdler, he crushed it. A lot of new faces doing really, really well. So almost like a Cam Oriol. You've got these people slowly climbing up. They're going to be, I feel like, superstars in the next year or two. So Jeff Pig, he has put together an excellent track and field team.
I was informed today, speaking of the cold weather, Abby, I won't say by who, but a former member of the track team who still loves Coach Pig in that program, but that when Liberty was still in the conference, just because there are so many members of the track team, they would bus in the snow, in all kinds of weather, as the Florida Gators like to say, up to Lynchburg, Virginia. And I want to shout out, while we're on that subject, our friends with the women's basketball program, Erica Lambert and the Ospreys, have made it back here to Jacksonville after being stuck in Kentucky for the last 3 days with that winter travel. They made it back yesterday afternoon, and so we're happy to have them back before they head right back out on the road and go to Nashville tomorrow, because they will play Lipscomb on Thursday.
Oh, man, that's crazy. I can't imagine right now.
Yeah. And with the consortium, which you alluded to, Abby, it's going to be a unique schedule for all of the UNF teams here in the fall.
Yeah. And I think we're waiting on there's some final decisions being made, but it'll be unique.
Will definitely be unique with the cross scheduling. And we've got a whole lot to get to, though, before that schedule is released for Abby Gilleland's first season at the helm of the volleyball team. We've got spring sports. Hey, as I kept saying to Cam, I'm like, we still got a lot of basketball ahead for him and the UNF Ospreys on both the men's and the women's side on the hardwood, because it's almost February, folks, and then we all know what comes after February, Richard. This is March.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
This is March. Oh, I think he was thinking the ASUN tournament.
No, I was ready to name another bridge.
Oh, yes. You were here when the city was built. So, I mean, you are the source when it comes to all things Jacksonville. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us here on Talon Talk on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. For all things UNF, head on over to UNFospreys.com. For Richard Miller, for Abby Gilleland, for Bobby Kennen, Cam Oriol, and the traveling Brent Martineau, as well as our producer Jason Hamby, I am Mia O'Brien saying so long. We'll catch you next Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Joel Donovan. My brother Kyle and I, we are co-owners and operators here at Donovan Heat and Air Electric, and my dad started the business in 1987 to provide the greater Jacksonville area with a great customer service experience. 3 decades later, we're still doing the same thing. I love the Jacksonville area. I love the community. I love raising my family here. That's my name on the side of the building, and it's really important for our family to run this company the way it should be ran. It's something to be proud of.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnicht has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnicht. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnicht. GMC. We are professional grade.
We're CSI companies. We partner with organizations nationwide to help employers like you find your dream team. You're looking to hire the best of the best, and we've got you covered, start to finish. Whether you're hiring for projects or everyday operations, we provide the talent, strategic solutions, and innovative technologies that keep your business ahead of the competition. This is your workforce reimagined. This is CSI Companies.
We've been telling you about the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network for over a year now. How to find it, what to see. Simply put, it's TV online. Local sports content all day, every day, just like this.
Did you always want to make history? Like, think that big, or just say, hey, I want to play in the NFL?
I always say I wanted to play in the NFL.
That's it. Backdoor left side, takes a shot.
Oh,
Into the
my
back of the
goodness.
net.
Oh, what a pass.
Oh my goodness.
What a pass.
And they have been. We've been talking, we've been articulating.
I did have a sense that they wanted to be bold, that they wanted to make a splash.
It's content you won't find on TV. Find it on actionsportsjax.com and just sit back and watch local sports all day on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hi, I'm Joel Donovan. My brother Kyle and I, we are co-owners and operators here at Donovan Heat and Air Electric, and my dad started the business in 1987 to provide the greater Jacksonville area with a great customer service experience. 3 decades later, we're still doing the same thing. I love the Jacksonville area, I love the community, I love raising my family here. That's my name on the side of the building, and it's really important for our family to run this company the way it should be ran. It's something to be proud of.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
We're CSI Companies. We partner with organizations nationwide to help employers like you find your dream team. You're looking to hire the best of the best, and we've got you covered, start to finish. Whether you're hiring for projects or everyday operations, we provide the talent, strategic solutions, and innovative technologies that keep your business ahead of the competition. This is